WWE welcomed fans back this week. Rolling Loud rang silent, Paul Heyman sang, and so much more. We've got plenty to talk about and more on this week's edition of the Smack Attack. No messing around, straight down to business. Money James McIver alongside my partner in crime, John Enright. How we doing? The sign's already popping up. The live chat's already bouncing. We've got plenty to get into. How are we doing today, my man? We doing
good. Got shopping done and got everything else done. I am ready to do this. I've got live wrestling to watch tonight. But today we are talking live wrestling in the WWE for the first time in 15 months for the first week. And we're going to talk about how we feel about this first week and how it's been.
Boy, we got so much to talk about.
And we do, and we're not doing it by ourselves today. We have a few guests. James, do you want to introduce the first guest, and I'll introduce the second one? How about that?
Yeah, I'm quite excited for your one, to be honest. Not that I'm not excited for the other one we've got here, because we've got a friend of ours from the Hammy Media Group. You'll recognize him. You'll recognize him very well if you watch the Impact Attack and the Next Level shows on YouTube and anywhere you get your Hammy Media podcast from on Patreon. It's the one and only. It's the vet of the Hammy Media Group, Jamie Williams. Give it up. Let's get it in the chat going on. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning,
fellas.
How we doing, my man? Thanks for coming on the show to do this.
Except, it's my pleasure. Now I get to be with the both of yous instead of individually, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
So this is going to be cool. But you said we got another person we're waiting on. Who else we got?
Oh, my bad. Sorry. So the funny thing is, so my work partner just texted me, so I've got to make sure that's okay. So that something at work doesn't happen. But yes, we have someone who is very cool. I like him a lot. I think he's neat. Also, he was live in Fort Worth at Money in the Bank. We've got my man, James Ernest, on the line right now with us to tell us about Money in the Bank, how it was being there live and everything else. So everybody say hey to James. And by the way, I am a little biased. James is my girlfriend's oldest son, so that's why I like him better than everybody on this panel right now.
That's it. I'm out. See you later.
Yeah. Screw you, man. Screw you, MacGyver. You
man, you just turned heel real quick.
I did.
With a smile.
With a smile, exactly. That's how I do it. The sinister minister in the house. So I guess let's do that. So James, I don't know how much time you have. I don't know. I don't know if you're working today or not. So I didn't want to take too much of your time. But tell us about your experience being there live in Fort Worth at the Dickies Arena Center, Money in the Bank. What was that like for you to be one of the first crowds for a WWE event in 15 months?
I must say it was wild. The whole crowd was electric. I already knew going in there that we would be ready for everything. But as soon as the Usos music hit, just in the kickoff show, we were all going nuts. The Mysterios came out. It was a good show. We were going crazy. There were some crazy people in the crowd. There was this guy behind me who would not stop talking, but he was having a good time. And talk about being electric. I was a part of the biggest pop in recent WWE memory, probably since Edge returned back at Royal Rumble last year. So it was really awesome.
That's great, man. So let's be honest. What was it like? I mean, so parking, everything like that. Was it like a hassle to get in? I mean, sometimes we've seen some of these events. It's been a while since WWE's run something. Was it a hassle to get in, find your seat, or did they have it pretty well on lockdown on getting everybody in and out pretty clean?
So all the cones were set up. It was just quick in to get into the arena. There were entrances everywhere, and Dickies Arena isn't actually that big, so it was just really easy. You could get to your seat in about 5 minutes of walking in the door. There was no elevators or anything, and I think it was a good size for Money in the Bank, especially since it got us all jam-packed, and it didn't matter where you were sitting in the arena. You had a good view of the ring. You could compare yourself height-wise to the other superstars because you were that close, and it just made everything so much more fun and awesome, in my opinion.
Great. What would you say was your match of the night being there live? Because obviously it's different. You don't get commentary. You don't get some of the stuff you would watch live, because I know you have Peacock or you're watching sometimes with the past and all that stuff. So explain what that transition is like, having seen pay-per-views on live TV versus now you're in the arena. Did it make the enjoyment that much better, or were you felt like you were missing something?
I mean, the commentary, it's not a big deal because I'm there live and I'm seeing everything firsthand. I think it's different. You get to see all the behind the scenes of what goes on in the matches, where the superstars are laying on the ground and stuff, and they're planning what's going to happen next. But the match of the night, for sure, and I think you guys could probably agree, even watching it at home, was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Just because it kicked off so fast. Like, you had Ricochet flying over the top rope 30 seconds of the match, and then Riddle doing something, and there were spots everywhere. Like, they didn't slow down. They just kept going. Everyone got their spots. I was excited just for that 20 minutes of that match. And, man, that was awesome. Even when Big E went up and won that match, we were all going crazy. Like, it was amazing.
What?
Now, wait, I heard that if you had Peacock, you didn't get to see that match at all. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's true. There was technical difficulties through that whole match. Everyone was pissed. That one's just for the fans, clearly.
Oh,
all
man.
right, so be glad that you were there, James.
Yeah.
Be glad. So what? So give me your take on the main event then of Edge versus Roman. How did you feel about that? Do you feel like it was a good ender, or are you glad they brought Cena out to finish to kind of give you that pop? Do you feel that was better?
I think any one of us would say John Cena coming back made us all happy. I was never more excited to see John Cena ever because I never was a big fan of him. But the best part of the main event was the entrances. When Edge came out, we were going crazy. When Roman came out, we were going crazy. Then the match started, and it kind of died down from there. Like, I was thinking you could go back to mid-2000s WWE, and you could find any one of those matches, like a John Cena versus Batista or something like that. And it's just a typical slow grappling and maybe a clothesline here. And then when Edge speared Roman through the barricade, we were thinking, all right, maybe it's going to pick up now. And then it went right back down to where it was. And it was a really, really slow main event. But I guess when Seth Rollins came out, his 2 times to interfere, and then Roman picked up his win, like the BS we knew would happen. I'll be honest, if it would have ended on a Roman promo for us to acknowledge him, I would have been pretty pissed leaving the arena. So I'm just glad John Cena came out because it made the whole main event that wasn't that good kind of worth it, in my opinion.
Cool. Now, overall time, how do you feel the show flowed? Did it feel kind of a slog, or do you feel like they timed it well so it was well paced throughout the night?
I think that it was pretty good throughout the night, just because usually these pay-per-views are about 3 hours, and they went about a little over 3 hours, so they kept it in good time, especially since there were only 6 matches. And I think that they did it so well that we were interested in every match pretty much, and it kept us invested throughout the whole night, whereas we didn't have a match come on that we didn't want to see. I mean, being there live, it's just a different experience, and maybe you get a little bit tired when the main event's slow. It's the last match of the night, but I think they got it done in good time.
All right. Anybody else have a question for James? Because I have one more about Raw.
There was a good one on the chat. Let me just go up a little bit for you. Where is it? I did spot it somewhere. A bit of a funny one, but like quite an interesting one. Like kind of Spaceman. It's like he did jokingly say, "Was there a full body search to get into the event?" I don't expect that to be the case. But what was that like security? Because we know that WWE have been a bit more on the side of caution when it comes to COVID and regulations, trying to space everyone out. What was that like coming in there? Were you all spaced out a little bit, or were you all just sitting like normal? It was absolutely fine. Or what was that like? What was that sort of experience coming in for you?
I would say that it was just like a pre-COVID WWE event. Like, you would go in, there was really no social distancing. Texas is opened up, so they're not too harsh on it.
So they were just kind of cool, and you come.
Yeah.
It seems quite interesting when you think about it. That everything's going back to normal in such a swift way. And it's like almost like it never happened. And in a way, WWE wish it didn't. Yeah, my camera's kind of playing up a little bit. Apologies. Well,
I thought that was a ventriloquism thing.
He was doing that Chinese. Oh, I'm going on.
Hang on. Give me a second. I'm going to turn off my camera for a second. I'll be back. I'll be here. I'll still be here. If I press this, is where everything goes pop. But carry on.
All right. So you did tell me, because we did talk the day after, and you did tell me you were upset you didn't get to see Jeff Hardy, even though I told him you can go to his concert right after Money in the Bank. Jeff Hardy had a concert in Fort Worth right after. But you did, and you were pissed because Monday on Raw he came on the air because you're a Jeff Hardy fan. So give me that take of seeing Jeff Hardy on Raw the next night. How do you feel? Like, by the way, do you know who Karrion Kross is?
Of course I know who Karrion Kross is. He's the NXT champion.
Okay, well, I mean, it helped he came out with the belt.
Oh, boy,
but have you seen Karrion Kross before Monday Night Raw, I guess is the question.
Yes,
okay.
The man. I don't recall him even losing a match in NXT yet.
Yeah,
unless it was the injury one. No, because he had to. He forfeit. Yeah, he gave up his title. Yeah. But
yeah,
I was sitting on my bed watching this event because I could have gone to it. It was in Dallas. I just thought that there's no way Jeff Hardy's going to be on it, and then there he is, Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy. When I tell you, I screamed no so loud, I was pissed. I was like, I just wanted to see Jeff Hardy wrestle one time. But then he came out, and I was actually very surprised when Hardy beat Karrion Kross, just because that's never happened. But I honestly think that's just the beginning to Kross probably just destroying Hardy or going on a rampage on Raw or something. So I was happy with the result. I know I love Jeff Hardy, so seeing him pick up a win anytime you can't take this for granted anymore because it doesn't happen that often. But that's just my take on it.
All right. Now, okay, Vet, you cover NXT. What's your take? You know, so granted, James is a fan of Jeff Hardy. How do you feel that went? You know, having Karrion Kross lose to Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw.
Well, in fairness, if you take looking at it as a business out of the equation, you know, and just look at what they did on the surface level, you could say, okay, here's the start of what could be actually a cool story if there's a bunch of there's like 50 creative ways that you can go based on just this one thing that they did, which everybody is shitting on because everybody that's shitting on is looking at it from the terms of this is a business and you're investing in these people and there's a certain way you've always done things. And why does Kross not get the benefit of the way you've always done things? You know, like you want to talk about John Cena. Let's talk about when Kevin Owens came up from NXT and got that win over John Cena, like a big deal, just to let you know, hey, this guy, you may not have heard of him, but he's here. He's on the scene. He's going to be around for a while, and you better get used to it because he just beat John Cena, right? And you look at that, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then they fucked it off, and Kevin Owens has been marginalized over that. And I think the fans do appreciate him, but he's not where he really should be. Like in the terms of like where we saw his potential, right? He's just sort of like a guy that they throw in as a mechanic to work with dudes. And Kross did not get afforded that same thing. I mean, you look at like James was saying, like Jeff Hardy's. When was the last time Jeff Hardy gets a win? He struggles to beat Cedric Alexander on the main event or whatever he wrestles on, and then he's just going to come in and get this. So we all know, like the inside fans know that this is a political deal for whatever reason. It's a test. It's any number of things. There's lots of speculation about why. A lot of it seems to be unfounded, but like I said, you could really do something cool with this if you do it right. I have no faith that they will. I'm sure they won't, because all they're looking for at this current point in time is let's fuck with this guy, you know, however that is. And so we'll see. But you know, like I said, from two different points of view, it was okay or it was disastrous.
You know, all right. So I've kind of been hogging this, but you know, James and I had already previously talked. I was actually talking with his mom when he screamed no on the Raw, which was hilarious. So, what about you guys? I've kind of hogged this a little bit, but what do you guys have any other questions for James about Money in the Bank, being there live, or anything along those lines that I may have missed?
Have you had a chance to watch the stream of it, on Peacock or anything like that? There, because I'd be quite interested to get a take on, were there parts where you guys reacted in a certain way that wasn't on the broadcast live? Like a big suspicion for mine is there's been and at times there was there that WWE wanted to kind of pipe in fan noises, and we'll talk about it as we go through our sort of deep dive into the fans coming back. There were moments where WWE couldn't resist putting in fan noises in that sort of time. Sounds like the Charlotte match was a big part because everyone was chanting Becky Lynch, and she made herself known after when the fans spoke of it. But have you had the chance? Was there any particular moments where you got there was a certain reaction in the crowd, but WWE tried their hardest to cover it up?
So I think the Charlotte match was definitely the one I noticed, because we were all chanting, "We want Becky," just for the fun of it, But when I went back and rewatched it, you couldn't really hear that chant as loud, and then they had to cut the screen back because Charlotte flipped us all off, and I thought that was amazing. Like, that was the best thing of the whole match for me. And then she actually, when they went off the air of that match, when she was walking backstage, so I'm sure she probably had a talk with Vince about that. But
they would have had that.
Other than that, all the chants that we had, they were pretty in sync with the broadcast, which I was kind of impressed about. They obviously added like more cheering and a little more booing, especially when Roman came out. But we were pretty loud when Roman came out, so they do their little modifying.
That's pretty good going. I'm just going to quickly ask everyone here. Have you seen Becky Lynch's tweet that she put out recently? And it was, "Here I am breastfeeding." And everyone's still chatting for him. I'm still the most over person. I was like, excellent.
I saw that before I heard Charlotte's promo on Raw, so I didn't know what she was talking about. I thought it was random, but then after I watched the episode and heard what Charlotte said, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good comeback.
Yeah. But the thing that I think that got everybody was Becky took a picture out in front of Dickey's Arena before Money in the Bank. I don't know if James, I think you saw that. I mean, I saw that, and I'm going, holy shit. So everybody's all jacked up for that, and then nothing comes of this whole week in Texas. And, I think it's kind of frustrating for fans at the same time. You get these teases, you get these things of maybe Becky's coming back. She takes a picture out in front of Dickey's Arena, looking like she just worked out or ran or something. And you're thinking, all right, here we go. Let's go. It's going to be Becky. And you get nothing from it. And that's, but it's WWE being WWE at the end of the day. Let's be honest. It's one of those things. And it's very funny because they, Jeff Hardy came on Raw or whatever. Then they released, I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, a video about Jeff Hardy coming back. It
was like a poem, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like this poem. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. And I was like going, okay. I'm like, okay, but you didn't announce that Jeff Hardy was coming back. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm struggling with this. Is like, wouldn't that have been cool to do that as he's coming in? Well, or as he's coming into Raw, as a pre-production, because then they show him right as he's getting ready to go in, and then you could transition that easily to him coming out onto the into the Raw, and I mean that would have been very, very cool, to do that. So, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I got that. So I don't know. I find the booking of them and bringing back people very weird, for me anyway. So
I think it was the wrong match to get Jeff Hardy back, because either way it wasn't going to go well. You have Jeff Hardy getting back in the crowd, having his theme music back and everything like that. Everyone's going to be up for seeing him have a good match. Karrion Kross coming from NXT, it's such a big debut for him. Someone has to lose. The obvious answer would have been Jeff Hardy, but clearly WWE didn't see that way. But it's quite worrying in that sense that they maybe overlooked important parts for that. They were looking at a company that they've spent a lot of time releasing current talents, and they're scouring their performance centers, NXT, to try and build up their new roster and have new signings and make them look every bit of the people that they got rid of, and then they make moves like this out the gate where Karrion Kross, who should be, we talked about it last week on the SmackDown. I said it last week that the way you should build him is a la Brock Lesnar 2002. Have him just smash his way to like a WrestleMania main event or a big match at the very least. And you're winning with him. You don't have to work hard with him. You really don't. NXT proved that you don't have to work really hard to get Karrion Kross as a really strong character, have good matches, look dominant. There's plenty of people on that roster that you could feed to him or at least have a decent storyline with. Bring him on SmackDown. Kevin Owens is right there. Great stuff. You can watch that for once. And we dropped it at the first gate, the first fence. You wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind a loss because we had Jeff Hardy cheating. That's that sort of impetus that WWE have where they have to have a way to win. It's got to be a roll up. It's got to be dodgy. There's got to be some kind of reason why a dominant person loses without looking poor. But at the same time, they do these, and then the dominant person looks poor. They do it to themselves. It's. I feel like I'm to blame because I predicted this very thing was going to happen last week. It was my genuine fear, and it happened.
Yeah,
It was just unbelievable, and I worry for Karrion Kross now. I really do, like because it showed in NXT. Like again, fan reaction's a big thing because you go into NXT, they're recording the next couple of weeks because of the Olympics. He comes out and cuts a promo. He has to do it again at the end of the night because everyone's chanting for Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
The job's done for him. Like in that sense, you've got to really work hard now to recover that. And this Samoa Joe storyline was a great start, but it's been tainted by what happened on Monday night. And I don't know what they do to recover that. Because things like that fans don't forget and they don't let you forget as well.
Yeah.
Like people were getting Hardy chants for months now.
Yeah.
Until such a point where Hardy's not even there anymore.
Yeah. So, hey, Canada Spaceman has a question for you, James. He asked, because it's Texas, was there a tailgate party in the parking lot before Money in the Bank? Barbecue, beer, etc. Did you see anybody tailgating before?
I didn't see anybody tailgating, but they probably could have been there for hours beforehand. I got there and then just went straight into the arena. I didn't really waste much time in the parking lot, so I didn't see any.
So what time did you get there? What time did you actually get there?
I probably got there about 5:30.
5:30. And then the dark matches started at what, 6?
The kickoff started at 6:25, 6:30.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so basically you were in there for about an hour. Or did they just have like the screen running with different like promos and different things?
So when we first got in there, it was just a WWE logo on the screens. And then once it hit 6 o'clock, they put the Money in the Bank stuff up and adjusted all the lights. And then it was just the kickoff panel. You could see them like Booker T and all of them were down the corner. JBL. So
Ooh, that's a question I can ask. Like you guys might know this better than I do. See when you go to a live event like Money in the Bank and they do the pre-show panel, can you hear them?
If you're close enough, you can hear them.
Ah, okay. So they don't play it out in the arena audio or anything like that.
No, they don't do that. Yeah,
I've always wondered that. So I think that'd be pretty good for when you're coming.
And we were on Peacock actually watching the pre-show just to kind of see when the kickoff match would start, and so John Morrison and The Miz went down to the panel, right? And so it was delayed. The TV to live delay was about 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
So it was actually longer than what you would think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, does anybody else have any other questions for James? I think you will let him go because I'm sure his mom has chores for him to take care of.
Oh, come on.
There you go. He's got it. He's not out of the house yet. It's what? When do you start at UTA?
August 20th, I have to move in.
August 20th. All right, I'm going to brag him in a little bit. This kid has got a full ride to UTA on an education scholarship. He got a Terry Award. They're covering books, education, dorm, all that kind of stuff. Plus, the kid's working. So I just want to give a shout out to James. James is a good kid, and I really,
yes,
yeah,
well done.
Well done to him. Graduated top of his class. played football, baseball, track, all that kind of stuff. Not baseball. I forgot. You don't play baseball. But basketball. He plays that sport I don't like. Was a top athlete and all those things. So good kid. Really proud of him. And so James, if people want to, if you want to plug any of your social media, you're more than welcome to do that right now. But where can people find you on the internets?
Instagram, it's jc.ernest. That's just my personal Instagram. I don't have any other accounts, but and then same thing for Facebook.
You're not going to plug that YouTube channel?
No.
No.
Come on.
We're keeping that with kayfabe a little bit.
We'll find you.
Yeah.
There are no secrets in this world
As
anymore.
soon as you reveal a thing about that to the Hammy Media Group, someone somewhere will find it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure John has already found it, but
Yeah, you showed it to me. Remember, we were in the car.
that is true. That is true.
That's the only reason why I know about it, because you told me about it. So all right, man. We'll let you go, and we appreciate you coming on, taking your time on Saturday. Go tell Bailey I said hey, and enjoy your weekend. And I'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. It was good to meet you.
Oh, he's found
nice
it.
to
Big
meet
Goose
you,
found it
James.
already.
Thanks.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
You too, buddy. You take care, man. Absolute pleasure. That's quality. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And
Just-
McIver, can you do me a favor? Can you put Big Ray in timeout, please? Can you just ban his
Badry. Hey, the invite was open for him to come on the show, but
Yeah, I know, but instead he's making allegations about me and stuff. So if we could just ban him or whatever, give him like a temporary ban, that would be great, I think.
I
think
don't
that'd be
know.
good.
There's usual general slander on this chat now and again.
Yeah, well, you know.
How dare you, Big Ray?
He just thinks he can talk to me any old way like he does with Colin, and I'm putting the foot down right here and now on your guys' show. I hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
right.
We need a veteran to kind of help us, get it going anyway, to lock it down, because we kind of let it go a little bit on Saturday. It's Saturday. We kind of let people have it.
Well, that's fine.
All right. So I guess we've had a week of live shows. So Vet, you've seen everything with as long as us. I unfortunately watched Raw to kind of have an idea.
Hey, you watched it. You sorry bastard. You watched it.
I watched it. I watched
Clips. I watched some clips.
I watched highlights.
You
Which is what
clips.
I don't.
You just
I
scrolled
don't
through your
know.
Twitter feed and stopped on any gifs and clips that somebody put up. Right?
I don't normally do that.
When Nikki won the title, that was good enough for me. I was happy. I could just stop watching anything else on Raw. Jobs are good, and I could just stay in my happy place with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you would. Yeah, there was that.
Get the baccarat going. Woohoo!
So, having seen this, how do we feel programming has done with the live crowds? I mean, are they utilizing the live crowds to the best of their ability? Granted, I'm going to be honest. It's in Texas. We're open. We have lots of people there, but we're not necessarily known for being a wrestling town, wrestling crowd. Dallas, Fort Worth area, Houston. We're not necessarily known for that as much. So how do you feel these crowds did, and then how do you feel the programming did to I guess excite these crowds and get them going?
I felt like there was a noticeable dip. We had the initial SmackDown, which seemed to go quite well, had a really good response. Money in the Bank, as James mentioned, it was a fairly hot crowd. A lot of good things happening. I think Peacock did more damage to the television audience than it did the fans, so that was not a bad thing. But you kind of noticed as the days went on that the fans weren't as kind of into things as WWE might have hoped. And there were moments where you could hear piped in fan noises and other bits and pieces like that, where it was a bit of an effort to try and make it seem like it was a bit more alive than what it was. I thought last night's SmackDown was very telling, that they went and did 2 arenas basically. We had their main show in one place, then they went, was it Rolling Louds? Is that what the festival was called?
Yeah, some kind of hip hop festival.
I think they learned a harsh lesson that they can't just expect fans or just people in general to respond in ways that they want them to. I thought that Rolling Loud crowd gave them nothing.
No,
there was no impetus. There was no reason. That was the main stage, I believe. So people are waiting, and you could hear them chant for the next act during the Bianca Belair and Carmella act. So there is still a bit of delineation between their product and fan response. Now, granted, Rolling Loud's a bit different because they were expecting, they were just there to kind of get publicized, get people watching it. There was more people. It was good on. It looked good for WWE, even though presentation-wise it wasn't as strong. But you know, when you make creative decisions like we've talked about, the carrying cross thing that happened, that was a bit of a fail. Some of the moments on SmackDown, like the Intercontinental title scramble, you know, fans maybe not responding as great as we would have liked. It's a strange one. It's a strange time. I think it's very quickly the sort of excitement, anticipation of getting people back ran out quickly. It's almost like you wanted it, in a weird way. It would almost be better if Money in the Bank was the first show that had fans back. I feel like that could have been the way to go, and it was all pointing to that. We get to SmackDown before, but yeah, I think they kind of maybe got a bit of a shock. There was the temptation to press the pipe pin audio button quite a bit when things like that happened, or when things they didn't think were going their way. It was almost like the anxiety of fans not quite giving them the response they want. But the strange thing about what made WWE shows entertaining in a way was the fans. So them not reacting exactly how they wanted wasn't exactly a bad thing. It just gave another level of feeling and emotion and drama. Wrestlers were playing, like Charlotte Flair was a really good example from Sunday night. You know, she flipped everyone off, but she reacted, and that's sometimes what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad to have organic reactions. I think they need to let it go, and I think that's why you saw John Cena on every show this week, because it was a natural pop, very organic. People were responding really well, but I don't know. I think they're still not fully confident with how things are going just now. Then themselves in production just now is they're not fully willing to just go off the leash and just let reactions be what they be.
Yeah. All right, Vet, what do you think? How do you think they've done?
I agree with the part about the artificial noise, especially on the first episode of SmackDown that they brought back. It felt very robotic almost.
Yeah.
There was no, you know how like usually if there's like a real, like if the crowd is really hot, obviously you're not going to get this in WWE crowds, but when a crowd is really hot, you know how there's that low roar sort of thing, like there's people always making noise, and then, you know, so it's, you know, you know, then they pop, but there's always noise happening. This felt like it was very quiet, and they were only making noise at exactly the right moments, like almost as if it was like a studio audience thing where they hit the cue light and, you know, applause, you know, and or cheer, you know, whatever it is. It felt like that. I don't know if it was like that because I'm at the mercy of their, you know, digital distribution. So I can't, unless I'm in the building, I can't refute what was going on. But it just sounded like everybody was like way too excited anytime anything happened. It was almost like the WWE scripted the audience. You know, for all I know, the entire show was muted and they still just had Thunderdome you know, like queued up and ready to go, just at all the right spots.
Well, we could not put that past them. Let's be honest.
No, we can't. But the funny thing is, we keep talking about it like, you know, that this is a company that just got off the ground in the pandemic era, and now they finally added fans. We forget it was not that long ago that they were still doing shitty television, and people weren't reacting, and they were still trying to cover it up digitally. And they're just going to, of course, they're going to go back to it. It's really no different now. But at least for that first episode, and maybe like James was saying, you know, because of the, you know, they panic and had their finger on the button. They just wanted everything to go smooth, at least for the first one. Right. So there's that aspect of it. Also, from a different aspect, you look at the booking of that July 16th episode, right? Mm-hmm. They start off with the big family versus family plus Edge match, right? And so this is just a good way to get people invested in the Money in the Bank main event and get some faces out there that everybody knows, right? Mm-hmm. And who goes over in that match?
The heels.
Yeah, on Ray.
Yeah, on Rey Mysterio. Yeah.
Not the young, inexperienced son who's never wrestled in front of fans before, but the guy that got pulled over for blowing a 205 or whatever rolls up the legend, Rey Mysterio, to start the first show back to welcome the fans. So that shows you right there. That's not an accident. That shows you right there exactly what Vince and the office think of the actual WWE fans. They'll pander to you the whole show, but what they really think, if you read between the lines, that's what they think of you. It's just a big double Charlotte to everybody that paid their money, exorbitant amounts of money, right, John?
Yeah, exorbitant amounts of money
to be at these shows. They're like, we know you know about Jimmy, and we know you love Ray, but guess who's getting rolled up? Ha ha ha!
Mr.
Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. This is what you paid for, and it's and just for I was listening to the SmackDown review that was on, that Ben does for Russo with Stevie, and he sort of glossed over this part of the match, and he said, "Baby's up to kick it." I was like, "What? Did I misremember that?" No, the babies were not up. He said, and then he said it again, and I was like, "Wait a minute, did I not remember that correctly? Let me look it up." Nope, sure enough, I was right. The babies were not up. It was absolutely not up.
Mm-hmm. You were down.
And then they end the show with Seth Rollins over. So double FU. You know what I mean? Like they give you a fuck you fans sandwich for that first episode. So I found that completely expected, but nonetheless interesting. It's like, oh, you're just going with the old ways, huh? All right.
Yeah. It's like they know though. They know they're in a good spot. WWE made more money than they ever did without fans in the stadiums.
Yeah, when they didn't have to draw tickets.
Exactly, when they didn't have to draw tickets. So now you're finding that these ticket prices are skyrocketing because you're not paying for fans to enjoy the show. Fans are paying to be the aesthetic now. They're the background. That's all WWE need them for. They don't need them for anything else because they will make billions in spite of that.
You're lucky to watch our show. You're privileged to be a part of our show.
Exactly. It's like,
even though we did have to pay way too much for it, it's still our privilege. Like you're doing us a favor.
Yeah, pay a premium to be part of the show. That is pretty much it. They're extras that are paying to be extras on the show now because they can do it all now. They've got their own production. They can do their own fan noises. As long as people are moving and alive, that's all they need. That's all they need. It doesn't matter who goes over. It doesn't matter who they put there. The fans are irrelevant in the worst way possible. We can talk about it on shows like this. We can go on Twitter. We can do the live chats on the Hammy Media Group on Facebook, by the way, and talk about these things. They don't need to respond to this. They don't have to act on it because they got what they want. They've got their sea of fans. It's not just a screen of people where they're telling them to cheer or boo. They're living, breathing people. And as long as they can make it seem like it fits the bill and they're reacting how they think you think they're reacting, then they don't mind. Because they're going to make more money because of it. They're like, well, we'll make an extra buck by having fans being there.
Well, that is a short-term truth, but it won't happen long-term. You can see that it's going, like, eventually they'll slide back in, and people will not be excited to be back anymore. It'll just become the standard again. And once that happens, you see like the ratings will drop back down. And people will not be as interested in paying for the tickets, so they're gonna for the privilege to be back. So they'll have to lower the ticket prices back to what they were, and they were only drawing half houses back then anyway for TVs, and not selling out pay-per-views sometimes. It will just go back to that because the WWE won't change, and the fans will certainly get wise to it. It may take a little bit longer just because of the novelty of it now, and it's like you don't know what you got till it's gone. So everybody's very happy to go out and spend some money and have some fun outdoors without masks on and shit like that. But, that's not a long-term solution. Meanwhile, AEW's over there trying to make moves, and eventually they'll be able to overtake people on names alone. Yeah. But the other thing is too about that is you look at these shows, like I think a lot of people, I'm sure you guys saw this, right? Where the feedback from the fans on maybe social media and other things are saying, that's how you do a show. That's a great show. Blah, blah, blah. This was a good Smack. This is a good Raw. Money in the Bank delivered. You see all this positive things. To me, and maybe it's just me, but to me, all I saw was hot-shotting. I mean, did they write a good show or did they just bring John Cena back? Did they write a good segment or did they just throw Goldberg out there? Did they really do anything different other than, hey, here's a few snazzy surprises or whatever for you in the middle of the fuck you fan sandwich, by the way. Let's not forget about that. So they're still getting their digs in. And it would do it like, oh, you here carry across, huh? Okay, roll him up. Oh, here's Keith Lee back out of nowhere. Okay, let's have him get beat. You know, the reason that you have to bring guys like Goldberg and Cena back is because you treat guys that could be Goldberg and Cena, like Keith Lee and Cross, you treat them like this. So now you have to dip back into you have to call in favors and you have to pay them exorbitant amounts of money, which you're only able to do because of the things like the TV rights. If they didn't have TV rights money, they would be, trust me, Titan Towers would be moving the water coolers back out again.
Right.
If they didn't have Saudi Arabia deals, they'd be moving the water coolers back out of Titan Towers. Their profits do not equal drawing. And I think it's important for everybody to remember that distinction.
Right, and we also remember, we knew Keith Lee wasn't going to win. It's his hometown. He's from here. So, of course, he's not going to win. Unlike Lance Archer on Wednesday night, who's from the same area, and beats Jon Moxley in the Texas Death Match for the IWGP US Championship.
Yeah, fair by the way.
By the way,
full
the
human
Academy's
being at
own
Jon Moxley.
Yeah, the Academy's own Lance Archer, by the way, I might add.
Yeah.
So if you want to go hear our interview with Lance Archer on the Academy, you can go back in the archives in the Hameen Media affiliate podcasting channel, and you can hear that. But that's the other thing. Like, yes, Keith Lee, love Keith Lee. Been watching him for years down here. He comes back on Raw. The pop that he got, because he's in his hometown. And then what do? We make him look like shit for 5 minutes so Bobby Lashley can beat the crap out of him. Yeah. Okay, I understand maybe Bobby, who's next? But couldn't we not have done something with Keith Lee to maybe build a story? That would have been a great place to do something to get him ready for Brock. But no, we have to have I ordered Brock Lesnar on Wish, and I got this old piece of shit Goldberg coming out, which there's no way. You can't even logistically go, oh, yeah, Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. I'm excited for that. Bullshit. I haven't been excited for a Goldberg match since 1997. That's the last time I got excited for a Goldberg match.
My excitement for Goldberg died that night. He nearly killed The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. It fucking died.
That late? That late?
The Brock Lesnar thing was really good. I enjoyed his match with Lesnar the WrestleMania before, because it was just a smash fest for 5 minutes. They just went for 5 minutes. Fuck it, they do their thing. You didn't need to have a match. Then so I was like,
he couldn't go longer than that. He couldn't go longer than 5 minutes.
Totally, that's fine. You don't need to go longer than 5 minutes. But then as soon as he done that, it was like, that's me. Happy days, plenty. There's no problem with that. Then he came out The Undertaker, and there was a little bit of like, oh, you know what? I'll watch it because it's old, Goldberg Undertaker. Here we go. It's you never saw this match before. I'll watch it, and then he dunked Undertaker on his head, and then it was game over. No more. No mask. Well, not even Dolph Ziggler could have saved that train wreck after that happened.
We all want to watch Goldberg matches for various reasons. That's the fact, and the fans out there proved it. Because we three may be sort of insiders and have the different view of it, but the average fan doesn't care about any of that. They're just like, oh, Goldberg, I know that guy. That's an easy chant to remember. I can do that. And that is fine. But we're talking about mixing and matching things here that should not have been. It should have been bring Cross out to beat somebody. Maybe not Jeff Hardy. If you want to do something with Jeff Hardy, do something with Jeff Hardy, but not there. If you want Keith Lee to come out and get a hometown pop, have him go over somebody. Have him pounce Akira Tozawa into the 5th row or whatever.
Yeah.
But don't throw him in there with the champ just to do it,
Yeah.
and just to end up losing. And if you want to do something with, and Goldberg and Bobby Lashley don't need to be connected to a match to do that. He doesn't have to come out after Bobby Lashley has a match. He could do that when Bobby Lashley has an in-ring promo or something. It's the same exact thing, but now you didn't bury the other people. So this is what I'm saying about you're not writing good shows. You're just trying to pop people. That's called hot shotting. And it's a short-term solution that ends up doing damage in the long term. And, it's nothing new with them, but,
Right.
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Slightly off topic, but know who would have been a really good debut match for Karrion Kross and win at the same time? Kofi Kingston. I think that would have been an absolutely quality match because you could have a good match with him, and then a win wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility. He's had a Money in the Bank match, so you've got that excuse. He's had a match with Bobby Lashley, maybe not full 100%. Doesn't matter though, because Karrion Kross is just a destroyer. Like, set a tone with him. I think that would have been a big enough name where he's not top of the card just yet, but word notoriety. Recognizable. People have just watched them on pay-per-view the night before. Have a title match. There could have been ways you spun that. I think that would have been a really fun match to go with. Really just set a good tone. As you mentioned the Kevin Owens example way back when John Cena was US champ. I think it would have been really good. Just a total random thought that came in my head, by the way, just when it came up.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, but why do any of that? Why not just have some random guy that nobody even knows that just we come back from commercial break on this kid in the ring? That's how they usually debut people. I mean, you had how many weeks in a row did that Braun Strowman do that with 1, then 2, then 3 guys, and Ryback too? They did the same kind of shit, and a killer on those level, no pun intended. A killer on those levels, like that's how you start. That's just it's a tradition. I'm not saying you have to do it, but it's better than what you did, and it would have even been better than poor Kofi Kingston. I think Kofi Kingston doesn't get, he's had to make enough lemonade and chicken salad over the years. We don't have to throw more stuff on his order, but
I think that's a little bit different because, like, you're setting Karrion Kross, setting a tone with him. Again, I go back to Brock Lesnar in 2002, where his first night is he cleaned out the hardcore division that were in that ring, and then he had like a feud with the Hardy Boys. Like, Hardy Boys were still really big back in 2002. They were back together. They had a really good run. They were recognized tag team champions. Fans loved them. Brock Lesnar came out and just done what Brock Lesnar does. And again, it's a good jumping off point. I mean, I'm not saying you bury Kofi Kingston, but by no means. But, a big win like that really sets someone off really highly. And in a time where WWE are in need of talent, they need names, they need people that people gravitate to and watch. They have to make them. 10 years from now, we won't have a John Cena. Goldberg, definitely. Brock Lesnar's not going to be there. The Rock's not going to come back. They're going to have a really tricky time unless they really put the foot down and start manufacturing talent. They'll have Roman Reigns, possibly, unless he disappears. And then who else?
Well, but I
there comes a point where you have to make someone. You really have to have a made man. And I think Karrion Kross could have done the job. He would have the tools in the shed. He's got the character. His promos are great. He has a look that's top banana. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of thinking him too much. But
I just real quick, John, before you jump back in.
Go ahead.
For one, I want to point out what Sonic here said in the chat. Goldberg coming out pissed me off because if we were to believe it was real, what would Goldberg have done if Bobby lost? Now, Sonic, you're starting to sound like me, kid. I like that. I didn't even want to take it down to that level of detail because we've got way bigger hemorrhaging wounds that we have to tend to before we get to the hangnails, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of that analogy, like, can we all agree that the WWE is in trouble? Yeah. In a way, right? They're not financially bad right now, but in the sense of where the long term, again, they're going to be on the decline, right? And it's because of the reason that you're saying there's not enough stars to replace the guys that have been there, and that now you keep giving that phone call, please come back, please come back, please come back, make a payday, whatever. But part of it is like, part of rebuilding and rehabilitating a company like to this degree means that you can't afford any of your guys to be put in the position where they are not looked at as a somebody that can really make money in their own way. That's the reason I push back against the Kofi Kingston idea, because we don't need Kofi Kingston any more lower than he's been.
Yeah.
We need to elevate Kofi Kingston. There's no reason that you have tons of guys that you already have earmarked on your ledger. I will never do anything with this guy. And a lot of them got released recently, but you still got a lot of them there. Those are the guys that you feed to Karrion Kross at first or whatever. But like in terms of like putting people up like a Keith Lee versus a Bobby Lashley, that's not going to do anything for either guy really.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of does for Bobby Lashley a little bit. Only thing is, where have you been, Keith Lee? You know, like it just seems like a weird random thing. It's just like Jeff Hardy was a weird random thing. Where you been, Jeff Hardy? He's been there. He just hasn't been on Raw. He's been doing the internet matches. So but that's what it is. You got to look at you got to decide who's going to be the assets that you really try to make money with, and you got to protect those guys at every stage and at every level, and then make it so like when it's actually time to have the clash on the big shows and the pay-per-views, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it. I can't call it. Right now you can fucking call it. You can call every single result that's going to be on all their shows.
Exactly. You know, and I got to agree with you about the building of the monster by the 1, the 2, the 3. And here's the thing. I know that there were so many local wrestlers who were ready to go to Raw, but apparently they're not using local talent right now. Whereas you've got AEW, same thing. I know local wrestlers who went to the show in Austin and they were at the show in Garland. For the Lance Archer match, the guy that Lance threw at Moxley, that was a local wrestler named Mr. Wobble, and I know the guy. He's a good dude. So Lance grabbed him and chucked him because he was at the show. Really, he was in his gear, ready to do whatever, and they said, "Here, sure, let's do that." You know, whereas they're not even using local talent, which it's been cool to the few times that they've come through the year before COVID. Local guys that I know, you see them on Raw. They're in a tag match with some people. It's like two guys who've never tagged before, and they're in a tag match with the Viking Experience, or you watch a guy do something, and now we're not even seeing that. Boy, how cool would that have been if Keith Lee would have just been with a local talent who we all know, and that would have been cool because Keith probably knew the kid and would have known him, or they would have known him through training, through where Keith trained or something along those lines. And then we could have had that cool kind of local moment where we're watching our guy Keith Lee take on somebody who's coming up, and oh man, that would have been so cool. And there were people ready, and they were like, I asked them, I said, "Are y'all going?" They said, "Well, they're not taking local talent. They're not because of COVID and all that. Still, they're not bringing in local talent." Which that is something I think that hurts WWE in the long run, because I want to see Keith Lee come back and whip ass. I want to see Karrion Kross whip ass. I want to see him take on 3 dudes and just kill them all. That's what Keith Lee and Karrion Kross are designed to do. When we do these things, I get where you're going with Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar is a once-in-a-generation type character, completely different than Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. They don't to me, they just don't have that same. Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar, whether he is in the ring or not in the ring. I mean, that's the thing. That dude has the same mentality, face, and everything, no matter what. I guarantee you people don't go and ask for his autograph because they're afraid he's going to whip their ass, and that's just who he is in general. And that to me makes him a once-in-a-generation character, the look, the size, the movement, but then the attitude on top of that. You don't have that with Kross. Has the look and everything, but he's not the shit brick house that, Brock is. So I want to see him do his things in his way to defeat maybe 2 and 3 guys to become that monster. Keith Lee throwing guys around, 2, 3 guys pouncing him, as you said, onto the 5th row. Those are the kind of things I want to see, and you need local talent to do that because they're going to know how to do the things you ask them, because they're not going to get anything in. You know, or you do something ridiculous, like you said, Vet, Tozawa versus Keith Lee. You know, where we're doing something like that. I think that's going to how you build these guys, and WWE's gotten away from that. They've moved away from let's build somebody, let's make them look credible. We're just going to throw people together now because it's going to get a pop, and that's not the way it needs to go. It's made it worse.
Just a quick note on that. I think that they will eventually go back to using extra talents. I think it's probably just because of they had to take that down while they weren't touring, because it's a whole process. You apply when they come to your city, you know, and there's like a process. They probably took that down and didn't just.
It was open because they had guys saying, "I'm applying." You know,
so it's still so the thing is okay, but yeah. I'm sure they'll go back to accepting it once they're a little more. You know, once they get things moving and stuff and back to the, because you're always going to need extras. You may not you may not accept as many, but you need people for those things where you want to do security pull aparts and shit like that. Right. And that's what they're going to do. And it's like those guys all are the same people, but some of them get to get dressed and have a match, and some of them just get to be security, and some of them don't get used at all, but they get paid because they're there. Right. So I was one of those. So, right. Yeah, the other thing, just to talk about the Brock Lesnar thing, it's like, yes, all the stuff you said about Brock is true, but it's not just that. Let's not give Brock all the credit. Let's also remember the fact that he was brought in by guys like JR and Jerry Briscoe, and so when those guys are telling Vince, hey, this is somebody, you know, you need to do this, and that, right? If Brock Lesnar was discovered today by Triple H and he came from NXT, then he'd be getting rolled up by Jeff Hardy right now. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what would happen. It's a whole different time, a whole different infrastructure, a different set of politics that happened to get Brock Lesnar to where he was. And they still did stupid shit with Brock Lesnar from time to time, even back then, because he was a kid and he didn't know any better. True. Now he holds all the cards, so they have to basically beg and plead for him to do anything with them. But trust me, if Brock Lesnar was in the Karrion Kross spot, he'd be getting rolled up just as easily. His personal aura would have nothing to do with it.
Scary to think about that. Yeah. It's so weird, the disconnect that the main roster process has with NXT. You know, we have such good talent. Like, as I say, Karrion Kross is such a good example where they've spent the whole time he's been in NXT building him up into this big deal, really big dominant force, to the point where he was going to have a match with Samoa Joe at the next takeover. And I think if you didn't have the Jeff Hardy thing at the moment, so much about him that's great. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if WWE just don't realize what they have, because they do this weird thing where you have someone who does really well in NXT and his championships, has had big matches, appears all the time, and then they'll get jobbed out. But then you'll have like someone like Commander Aziz who's been on NXT, but he hasn't done anything, and there he is, just an absolute unstoppable monster with Apollo Crews, and
or Omos or whatever they call him.
Omos, yeah, and they'll probably, once they break off, they'll do something with him. Braun Strowman was another example of that. Braun Strowman did fuck all in NXT, and then he goes to the Riot family, and then they build him into who he was. So they've got this weird record where they'll have people who are freshly baked, ready-made, good to go, but then they either won't use them or they'll book them really poorly. But then they'll have people who aren't even close at the time and put a rocket on them quietly to the
because that's not their choice. Like the NXT thing, it's a sort of like an internal struggle between Triple H and Vince, where you have what you essentially have a farm system, and you're supposed to develop those players and then make them ready for the pros, and then the pros are supposed to put them in the right spots that they need them in. Mm-hmm. That happens with every sport that there is that has this sort of a system. Now, Triple H is doing his part. He's like you said, James, you said, hand-delivered these people with all their gimmicks, their music, you don't have to do anything because there's a continuity to it. It's like you're already branding NXT as WWE, so it stands to reason that when they get called up, they're not going to get the whole name and gimmick change and everything like they used to do. It's just like you're just moving up. You're just getting promoted. You're just, somebody wants you and it's your time. And that's not happening now. Now it's like people are Triple H is saying, yeah, these guys are ready, and there's probably some people in the office that are like, I like these guys, let's bring them in. And then Vince meets them for the first time when they get there, and it's like, well, I didn't ask for this guy, so whatever, screw it. And I'm rewriting the show, so it's not going to happen. And then that's what we get. It's that thing like where people just don't want to do what someone else tells them to do. It has to be your idea. Mm-hmm. It can't be someone else's idea that you just are. You're just thankful you didn't have to do the heavy lifting. You're just mad that it wasn't that you didn't find them first, or maybe you just personally don't like them, or whatever the case. And that's what you're seeing with basically everybody in NXT for the past. I don't know how long has it been around? Like 7-8 years. That's basically how it is. Some people have had more success than others, but even those, they've had to like weather a storm to some degree.
Mm-hmm. So weird. It's so weird how they do it.
Yeah.
But that's just Vince McMahon's pettiness, or the people around him like Bruce or whatever, and that he delegates to. And if they say bury somebody, he won't argue it because he doesn't have a personal stake in it. That's why it was so interesting to hear about him supposedly going down to the Performance Center, because that's what he should have been doing all along. No one expects Vince McMahon to have time to watch wrestling matches or things like that. But all you got to do is look at a series of 8x10s or just have guys standing there with their shirts off, and then Vince can just pick the ones he wants to use. So that way, when they get hand delivered to him, he'll want to use them and he'll make money with them. Or at least that's the theory. But God knows, it could just be a thing against Triple H because he's mad that he married his daughter all those years ago. It's you never know, but it's probably more that. It's more that than just plain incompetence.
Yeah,
it's so much easier than they're making it. When you look at AEW, who are now spending millions to bring in talent to like do their show, rightly so. But and as we're saying, Vince literally can walk into the Performance Center today. Here we go, for a fraction of what he's paying main roster talents. Up you come. Everything's ready to go, and with a good bit of booking for a couple of years, you could start making rakes of money off this person. But there's the politics, and then the strange relationship that he has with NXT. Mm-hmm. It's like, why would you have this if you're just going to book people in spite of other things?
Yeah.
Oh well, that's an easy answer. That's an easy answer, because you thought you were just going to shuffle your son-in-law off to do his own thing and not have to worry about what he was doing, and you probably expected him not to do that well.
Yeah.
Surprise, Triple H knows wrestling.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to be a success, you idiot.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Let him handpick his team of people who know wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. I saw a meme the other day. It's like, it said all the other promotions playing well with each other, the Impact, New Japan, AEW, and it says WWE with his own brand. It's WWE punching NXT in the face. I mean, it seems like that's always been the case. Well, you gotten too good, so fuck you. We're going to take your talent. We're going to put you in different time slots. We're going to fuck you around. We're just not going to let you be that third brand, even though they're trying to say they're the third brand. They're doing everything in their power to do that, and it only hurts the product in the long run. Really.
Or I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, that's just it's that idea of I swear it's almost like Vince sees NXT as a rival company instead of his own brand. And because
I remember what I was going to say. It's like, or maybe it's because you couldn't outdraw AEW when you guys were going head to head, so now you have heat with me.
Yeah, maybe.
Remember that Survivor Series where all the NXT guys went over?
Yeah.
And because that didn't automatically deliver them 1 million viewers to beat AEW, it's like, now you have heat with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's another thing. It definitely plays into it. However much is anybody's guess, but that is a thing.
The Emperor's New Clothes. I mean, all that. So basically, after this week, so we had last night's SmackDown. We've seen this whole week. I'm going to be honest. Last night's SmackDown, I felt it struggled, especially being at that hip hop crowd. You notice they did not cut the crowd very often. It was very, very quick if they did, because when they did, nobody was cheering. Nobody was going anything. And then here, I get it. You're at a venue that already has a stage set up, but the stage is on the main stage. It looked bad because there were times where you cut the camera angles and it's like there's nobody in the crowd, because of the way they were shooting it. It looked so weird. and bad. I thought, are they? Wait, is this live? Are they in the Thunderdome?
Yeah, but then they also were working matches to the hard camera, which was the other side from where the fans were.
Right.
So there was such a huge disconnect because they're not performing for the fans that are in front of them.
No.
They're performing for the fans who are watching on a big screen back over where the rest of SmackDown is, and for the people on TV. Where, yeah. And they had a good match that was set up for it. You know, they had the Street Profits and the Alphas. I read on Twitter, someone made a great comment. It was like, it shouldn't be hard. You've got Wale introducing the Street Profits.
Right.
You couldn't spend 2 minutes having Chad Gable cut a fucking promo there just to get them angry or riled up about something. It's like, this rap music today. You guys, you need to sort out your, you know, something like that. And you would have got them going or got them involved, you know, make them a part of, like, the thing is, I think they were expecting the results they got with Download Festival when they came over this way with NXT. The big difference between this and Download was they set up shop in the tent and Download and let people make the informed decision to come see NXT.
Right.
And it was fine. This was just like, they just took over the stage while they were waiting for a better act.
Yeah, no, and that's what it was. That's really what it was, and it was so weird. And then you had, you know, so you finished the Bianca match, and which this was a weird match to have your rematch, you know, there. And she wins, and you don't hear anything, and then she walks out to the crowd, and they're cutting to it real quick, and there's nobody cheering. And you know, same thing. Bianca, great person to have there, personality, good, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yet, again, it's like, you know, these people were like, okay, what's the next thing coming on? You know, and I mean, somebody mentioned earlier, they could hear people chanting for the next act, you know, and it's like, why? I get it. You're trying to build your brand. You're trying to promote. You're trying to do these things. But boy, it just looked awful. And I mean, especially because, you know, I'm sure Vince is like, well, put out the hip hop guys and the black chick. You know, they'll do it. And then that's
They should have sent Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
With the spear.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. You want to talk about a promo and get some heat? How about that?
Oh Christ.
Oh
that place
my
would
God.
explode around the stage.
In the city that just changed their name from the Indians to the Guardians.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Could have
God.
done. In all honesty, right? We had Wale involved in this.
Yeah.
He's right there. I'm assuming he was part of the festival. Why not have him do a mini gig while the matches are going on? You know, have something. Have like music in the background. Have an act play like on the stage to the side or cutting about the place. So while they're working and you've got the artist performing, fans are probably going to be bouncing because, you know, they're getting what they want. They're getting actual music rather than just, you know, carny wrestling in front of them. Let's call it what it is. You know, have a nice little mixture. Give the feeling that it's just more than just SmackDown. I think they wanted it to be the show, but it didn't quite work out that way. You know, get a bit more sort of life into it so that it's unique. It's its own thing. You know, they're at this festival. Things are going to happen. There's a show going on. Get Wale, doing a couple of tracks and then shouting out the Street Profits halfway through. Shout out to my man Montez Ford, and then he does like a suplex or a moonsault or something like that.
Yeah.
No, just give it a different vibe because it's what we talked about. They expected the crowd to react in a certain way, and they didn't get it, and they had to pipe in fan noises, and they failed miserably in the Bianca Belair match because they chanted for anything but the match. And when you did have crowd noises, you saw about 20,000 people just arms folded,
sitting on their hands. Yeah. You know, it was bad. You know, especially when you compare it to, you start the show with John Cena. You know, you started the show with John Cena because once again they're wanting that hot start to Fox. So what do? Let's roll John Cena out here and get him on promo. You know, because we know people are going to pop for that. And so you hear that in the arena that we're at, and you hear John Cena give a promo. It was a pretty good promo. You know, interesting thing. Paul Heyman comes out, you know, and kind of does his thing with John Cena. Let's be honest. That was so good to see Paul Heyman do that. Because the tribal chief is here. Da, 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 da. And he starts doing that and walking his way to the back. You can almost see Cena trying not to laugh almost while watching Heyman do this as he's strutting to the back doing the whole thing. But, and Cena got all of his classics in, and everybody popped for it, that the champ is here, and, you're on team, you're on my team cargo shorts or team, and he's doing all of his bits and gets everybody to pop. Paul Heyman comes out, gets them to pop because of what he does. And then, again, you started a show hot, and then it just is, how do you follow that? Because you haven't done anything. We tried to do these matches and other stuff. It just didn't work.
How weird was it, though, that we got a really hot crowd for a vanilla John Cena promo when not a few years ago you could have had that exact same promo and the crowd would have been dead?
Well, yeah.
What
missionary position every night.
Every night. Every goddamn night. But hey, when you've not had it for a while, you'll take anything, won't you?
Yep.
That's
pretty much. It's the same old pandering John Cena that we always get.
Yeah.
I mean, he like if you listen carefully to everything he says since a certain point in time, I want to say maybe late 2000s, every word and every sentence that he speaks is carefully constructed. It's basically like, if you read between the lines of everything he's saying, he's basically saying, you guys like me, right? Please like me.
Yeah.
You couldn't boo a man like this. Why did I come back? For you all. I came back for you guys. You guys were the one that brought me back. It's like, oh, really? That's what it was? It was that. It wasn't because you didn't have a movie to make or some other stuff. It wasn't that you became you accused The Rock of being like those
right.
10, 11 years ago. It wasn't none of that. It's just but he's always trying to do that. He's always trying to put people over in subtle ways, or ingratiate himself to whoever he's speaking to or about, in ways, even in terms of like the way he would have himself booked, because he's got a certain amount of creative control and just certain like guys that he would put over and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to put guys like Daniel Bryan over, Shinsuke Nakamura over, because he knows that in the smart fans' eyes, they would know that was a call that he made rather than bury everybody like they accuse him of doing. So it's like, look, guys, I'm putting over all your favorite indie workers. You like me, right? Like, I'm cool, right? I'm one of you guys. You finally like me, right? And nothing has changed. Now that he's back, he's doing the same pandering promos, and he's going to do a job for Roman Reigns, which people will start to cheer more than John Cena, because everything Roman's been doing, while somewhat subtly evil, is cooler than what John Cena's been doing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's nice, and I do like Candace Spaceman's Paul Heyman is the Velvet Fog. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's how do you, but once again, it goes back to that nostalgia pop. We're wanting that nostalgia pop because we haven't had anything for so long. We have fans back they haven't seen in 15 months, so we're just gonna give them what they're familiar with, and yet they're not doing anything to build up to what we need to start getting other people over, and so and then we had matches, we had the Intercontinental Scrum, we had all that kind of stuff going on, and nothing really compared until the end, I think, with the Finn Balor, Roman answering John Cena and the Finn Balor pop. I think, once again, I like what you said, that is a shit sandwich. Where, on each end, we had something that we thought was good, is good from what we could think. But when we really look at it, there's just a giant shit sandwich that has been put together, and we're just having to enjoy it because, dang it, you're back, and here's live crowds almost.
Well, for me personally, I thought this recent episode, the last night's episode, it was less of a shit sandwich and more of just kind of like a roller coaster. Like I thought there was good stuff sprinkled throughout the show, and then there was just some head scratching stuff. But you would just call that a typical Friday Night SmackDown, right?
Right. I mean, yeah,
it's really no different than that. But they tried some things which were weird. But I mean, I don't know if you guys planned on like running down the thing or what, or if we're just freestyling the whole deal. But just for example, you mentioned like Finn Balor like coming out at the end, but he also came out before that.
Yeah.
And he and Sami Zayn had a motherfucker of a match for TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but this was exactly what it needed to be. This is the kind of a match that Keith Lee need to have when he comes back. Instead, Finn Balor has it. He Sami Zayn sells he sells his ass off like nobody's business, and Finn Balor, all his shit looks so good, and the people are so into him. You know, they missed him. Obviously, you can tell. And that's one of the things that I bet you anything. Like some of the people there, you know, were surprised how over he was when he came back. I'm sure they were like weirdly angry about it, like why do they like him so much, you know, like he hasn't been here in like 2 years or so, you know. I can see them being, you know, flustered and there being some consternation there about that, but you know, he is one of the best people you have. He's like, it's probably top 5 in the from top to bottom of the roster, because he can do anything you want. He's been everywhere in the world. He's been there and doing it forever. And he's over. So, you know, and now he doesn't even have to lean on the demon. Not that he did. I think the WWE leaned on it for him, but you know what I mean? But this match was really great. And then you go from that, you go to this fucking Baron Corbin shit again. Yeah. Where, you know, like where he's this downtrodden, put upon, broke person. It's like, so what, you're still not getting paid by the company that you work for, or like, how does that work?
So
like
fucking weird.
What does being poor have to do with buttoning your fucking shirt?
Yeah.
What is your financial standings have to do with like if your collar's slightly turned up or not? You know, that's free. It's free to put your collar down, Baron. Right. I don't know if you know this, but shit like that. It's just. So right back to back, and SmackDown does this a lot. Like you'll see. I remember I sent Ben like a little clip I took off my TV from like an episode like a few weeks back, where it shows like, you know, they just have a real dramatic scene with the Usos, right? You know, and the camera just kind of fades out on, I don't remember which one, but it just fade out on him standing there, and it was like pretty good and theatrical. And then what they fade out on and fade back into is Apollo Crews just marching down with the shit-eating grin on his face. It's like, that's the dichotomy right there, summed up in 5 seconds. You're expecting us to sit here for this serious shit that's way better than wrestling programs deserve, and then you bring out this cartoon bullshit right afterwards. So it's like you're doing it a disservice. You can't ask us to buy into the serious stuff when you got this guy with this friggin', you know, military surplus coat or whatever you called it last time, John. Yeah. It's just, you know, but that's what they do, pandemic or not, fans or not. They always do this, and they just expect you to just kind of eat it. But it is more palatable when you get some good stuff sprinkled in there. Or like you've already mentioned what you call the Intercontinental Championship Scramble a couple times, right? Yeah. So again, going back to the question, is it great writing to have random people wander out in a what I like to call the hit everyone's music segment?
Yeah, I know. Such a fucking mess, by the way.
When Biggie's about to give a speech that we kind of want to hear. Hey, he won Money in the Bank. What does he got to say? Oh, who cares what he's got to say? Here come everybody else.
Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler come out.
Let's get him. Well, first let's get Apollo Crews, who he should be over and done with. He's got the fucking Money in the Bank, you know. But Apollo Crews comes out, and then Apollo Crews can't even get finished because, you know, we have the Dirty Dogs come out. Which, you know, by the way, I do want to say the Finn Balor match was great, and I don't know if he listened to us last week, because his coup de grace on Sami Zayn looked fucking murderous. Yeah. Yeah, because James and I talked last week about how he's been looking off with it, like maybe he hurt somebody and he's not quite ready. I don't know, but this week he must have been listening, because this week that coup de grace looked like he fucking killed Sami Zayn. And Sami sold it so well. Like, he looks at the ref and gives him like, oh my god, he needs like 2 more minutes. Like he's literally really hurt. You know, I mean, such a good job. It was a great match. I agree with it. And then you had the scramble, and it was just kind of this shitty.
We didn't even get a match out of that. Normally they turn that into like an 8-man tag or something. They didn't even do that. It's like, nah, forget it. Get everybody out of there. It's time. They'll know how.
And then the scramble ends with Cesaro says, "Enough talking. You haven't fucking talked. You haven't said anything." Everybody starts to talking, gets interrupted, and he comes out and says, "Enough talking, let's fight." And he comes, and then it's just, you know, this big thing goes on, and I'm like, What did you fucking say? You didn't say anything. You
Not
said
even that.
nothing.
Nakamura's promo was Boogs just playing guitar for a second.
Yeah, and then let's talk. And then Cesaro's music hits in. Yeah. Oh my god, it was such a shit show. It's like you had a good opening segment, you had a great match, and then you hit this, and it was just like, what the hell is happening right now? Literally, what's going on?
It was like watching a car crash.
Yeah, we do normally go in order, and then we'll do that. But we had to kind of get this part of it because it was so wheels off. It's like, okay, we're good. I felt good after the first 20, 30 minutes, and then we hit this part, and it was just like all of a sudden the 18-wheeler is skidding off the road, jackknife, and about to do 15 barrel rolls down the highway because of this thing right here. It was just a complete, absolute mess, the Baron Corbin thing, and then you've got Kevin Owens, trying. I don't remember where the Corbin thing was in the.
It was after the matches at the thingy. What you call it?
Okay, right after Finn Balor, I think.
I thought it was after
the first one. The first one, Corbin said he was losing money on the FundMe page. That was the one after the Balor match. Then after the Rolling, where we call it Rock and Rolling, or whatever it was called, Rolling Noise, that's what it was called. After that, that's when they had the tank thing where he was just randomly with Shotzi and Knox who were trying to fix their tank, all dressed up like mechanics, which I thought was kind of cute. And then you had Hans Millman presents Man Getting Hit by Football.
Yes.
I mean,
so I kind of got into the idea of having Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin as a sort of like unknown quantity tag team,
But I mean, it's just so weird that of all the people, Kevin Owens being the ultimate babyface, because Kevin Owens has had that, streak of being jerks to people too. And I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, he's telling this guy not to be a jerk for the last 8 years. And, I'm sorry about your, the way you dress. There's the whole apology thing. Wait, that's a new shirt. Well, you got ketchup on your shirt. Like, I mean, is that from last week still, And
why does he have to? Oh, that's another thing. Why does he have to eat spaghetti out of a can if there's catering there?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if nothing else, he can get a free meal. He can get a free meal at the show.
Right?
And I've been to their catering. They don't have SpaghettiOs there.
Yeah, I know, right?
And if they did, they'd pour them in a tray.
Yeah, I know. It's just stupid shit like that. And then of course, then he takes the shot to the balls. And then the Dirty Dogs out of nowhere come and take his $20 that Kevin does. And then Kevin comes with a chair and smacks it on the floor right in front of him, almost hitting Corbin, going, "Hey, get away from him!" Like being this, leave him alone, damn it!
I'm going to protect my new friend by nearly hitting my own friend.
Stop it! Just don't be mean to him. Leave him alone.
Didn't even get the money back. Didn't even get the money back. He gave Corbin, by the way. He gave Corbin the money.
And then he kind of gives this look, and I mean, I don't know, and then it goes off the air, and I'm going, what the fuck was this? Like, again, it's like they're trying to be cute, but it's not working. It's so stupid, and there's no logic behind it. And I'm going, all right, where the fuck are we going with this right now? Like when is this going to pick back up? And it's just getting, I'm like, now I'm starting to get pissed a little bit of like, what am I doing with my time? I could be on date night, which I kind of was on date night, but I'm still kind of like going, what am I doing right now with my time? This is pissing me off, and I'm like, I'm telling my girlfriend, if you want to leave and we can go get dinner or something, and I can just watch this later, I'm about ready to just walk out on the show, and so.
Oh God, you watch this in front of people, John?
In front of my girlfriend.
What the? She's a people.
Yeah, she is.
Don't do that to the poor lady.
Yeah, well, she likes me enough.
Miss, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm just gonna apologize in public for
James. That's James's mom, Kara. Sorry, Kara. We did, but we ended up having a nice date night. We went out and watched some live music. We had some good food. So
you went to Rolling Loud. Taking a Bianca Belair match.
Disappointment watching waiting for your 5 hours to come on.
I did that. No. But yeah, no, and so it's at this point in the show I'm super frustrated with it. Yeah, I'm glad I watched the Olympic Open.
Fucking right, my man.
Wolfers.
Seen the guy tap dance for 5 minutes to the sound of nothing. That was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way: the Olympic. I watched it in the morning because I was at the gym, so it was live when I was watching it. And then when I watched SmackDown later, I'm thinking, good Lord, there is more like almost excitement with the performance and anything that it is in some of these SmackDowns. It seems like, especially with that crowd out at the whatchamacallit, Miami Field or whatever they called it. And so this is the point where I'm really struggling with the show. And so I'm on to be honest, at this point I stopped paying attention of the order of the show. So James, you're going to have to kind of take me from this point forward of what came next. Because I remember stuff that happened. The order now, I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm going to start doing other things, and we go from there. So
maybe you could start at the top, and then we'll just skip everything we already talked about.
Yeah,
maybe. Funny that we literally covered the first half of the show.
Yeah, we did everything, right?
Well,
James, while you stepped out for a second, what like John kind of felt like shit sandwich for this episode. I kind of felt like roller coaster for this episode. What did you think about the episode?
I agree with the roller coaster thing. If you like the opening promo was really good. The promo we're about to talk about is really good. I thought I quite enjoyed Rollins and Edge. The Reign stuff at the end was good. I quite enjoyed Finn Balor and Sami Zayn for what it was. The middle's a bit, the stuff at the music festival.
The festival.
Festival stuff was poor, really poor. I thought it was more disappointing for Street Profits and the Alpha Academy because I think they could have done better if they were able to do better. I think they were like held down quite a bit. I mentioned that, have Chad Gable cut a promo, or Otis was the perfect guy there for a crowd like that. You want to try and get them going. Those two guys would have done it. The match was fine. It wasn't anything spectacular. I thought Montez Ford doing the power slide down the stage was quite fun. And Wale introduced him was good, but it just wasn't enough. I think they deserved a bit better. And it's just unfortunate that such circumstances dictated that they weren't going to get anything from this crowd for it. Bianca Belair, Carmella, much of the same that we got. I thought Pat McAfee did a lot of leg work for that match. His commentary I thought was spot on. At times it felt like he was doing more work than Cole. Like he was doing the play-by-play while doing color at points. So, there was a lot of effort in that one there.
Let's go back to a one-man booth, ECW style. Just Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee doing it Joey Styles way would be cool. I think, what's quite nice is I quite enjoy, I wish I could see them live, but like Pat McAfee does 2 minutes on the mic when it's an ad break. So he's getting the crowds hyped up as well, which he's doing some good work just now, Pat McAfee. And I think he really makes a lot of SmackDown more watchable than what it is and give more than it should be at times. Here we go. That's a good point here. Let's do a rap match rest of the match at a rap concert. Who should we open with? Cable versus Dawkins, Ultimate Rib.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Because that's the thing. It wasn't even a tag match. It was a Cable versus Dawkins match.
I know. And it was so out of nowhere as well. Like they didn't big up their return. They were injured for a few weeks. There's some building that. You can get them back in a shock surprise or hype them up and have a match built up for SummerSlam or something like that. Nah, we're just going to put them in a rap festival where no one cares about them. No one knows who they are. And we're not even going to have a promo to set the tone for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already said it. You put the black people there, just not Apollo Crews like they should have. But we already mentioned that. That's what they were probably thinking, or who knows? It could have been like a Wale idea. He might have gotten along with those guys and stuff. I'm sure they've done stuff in the past, and he'd be like, "Hey, these guys would be good for the show," and stuff like that. They tried it. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about it, really. Because we don't know like the behind the scenes sort of like how that was put together promotion wise. Like it could, we don't know who contacted who about what or whatever. They probably both thought it'd be mutually beneficial to get some eyes on the products, and it just didn't come off well on TV. Okay.
Right. Well, why not? Here's my question: why not Big E? Because Wale performs Big E's entrance music, and they say
because it was very important, John, that Big E get interrupted by 6 random people on the show.
Right. Oh, my bad.
Come on,
we needed that.
Yeah,
God.
Even though they announce it, they're there, and Wale's there for the Street Profits, and then and Wale he performs Big E's music and his intro for his ring intro, and I'm thinking, and Big E's. Why is he not there? Oh shit, that's right. He has to be interrupted by 6 people.
Can you imagine how weirded out that crowd would have been watching that segment? They've got Wale playing out Big E, cuts the promo, then Apollo Crews coming out with his slightly problematic gimmick, coming on. Then you've got Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode in leather jackets as if they're fucking grease. Then Boog starts playing electric guitar like it's the 80s. They would be just losing their heads. Just going, what's happening?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So try to see how much weed they've had recently. Too much, they would have thought. But no, I thought it was an up and down show. More downs than ups for me. I think they were held together with good promos and a good Finn Balor Sami Zayn match. Yeah. The rest I could have done away with. Yeah. Like I kind of like seeing Shotzi and Knox doing things.
Yeah.
So at least they've got something for them. I like what they were doing. You know, they got something. Never had a match, but at least it had something where it kept me entertained. It kept me engaged. But apart from that, I could have done away with the rest of it, to be honest.
Well, I did like the Kevin Owens. They cut to him at first, and he's like, "Have you tried hitting it with a hammer?" Well, yeah. Well, that's all I got. You know, that was kind of good. That was good. But then, so after the Bianca match, we had the Edge Rollins thing.
It was good. I thought it was good. Yeah. I really thought it was really good.
Yeah, I really did. I like the bring back of the history 2014, and Rollins saying you were always a dick to me, and I love that. Hey, yeah, come in here. I won't put my hands on you. And then he talks about how I'm gonna make your neck go up and smoke, pop, pop. And then
so good.
Edge goes, hey, Seth, remember when I said I was a vegetarian? I'm a liar, and just It reminds us of the Edge, who, even though he is a babyface, he's still that Edge that we kind of didn't like, and who was the heel, back in the day, the rated R superstar, the liar. But it's done in a way to where he's you look at it and you go, okay, well, I got Seth Rollins. He's the complete shithead. I don't want to cheer for him. And Edge, I can understand where he's coming from, why he wants to act this way so that he can get his hands on Seth Rollins. So that makes complete sense to me. So I liked this in that sense, and I like the callback to some of the history that they have. Felt really good.
Like when he mentioned the Brood, it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? That's a weird metaphor. For
the Ministry of Darkness, and you mean, and you know who he's referencing in he's tangentially referencing, oh shit.
Midian, hooray!
No. The guy who ran the Brood, Gangrel.
Undertaker.
Gangrel.
Yeah, Gangrel. And he's tangentially referencing Undertaker, in these things of the darkest, most evil people and stuff like that. And so it's like, oh shit, yeah, he's got a reason to come after you, and he could do it. So it's definitely something that what the fuck? Something just flew in my face.
To be fair, when he heard it was like, I've learned from like the darkest minds of WWE, he's like, I tag team with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
that's that kind of reference right there.
Exactly. Doesn't work for me, brother. So it was good. I thought, but again, at this point, 2 of the 3 best things of the show are promos. And that's the hard part because SmackDown is known as the wrestling show. They usually put on some pretty decent matches they've had in the past, and we're just not getting that anymore with some of these stuff. So, this was good. It made me want to watch this feud, and I'm looking forward to how they're building it. I think they're building it in a good way, and I'm looking forward. This feels like it could carry on for a bit, at least to SummerSlam.
I'm really enjoying this Rollins with this overinflated ego, who's just laughing and taking the piss all the time, not taking anything too seriously. It's like this is a Seth Rollins that's feeling himself a little bit, got a bit more character to him than what we've had, and it was just good. So even when he did that promo with Edge, just spent the 5 minutes being really intense and heavy, and he's just joking with him.
Yeah,
just having a laugh at his expense. And
I did notice signs at this point too during this promo. This is the first time during the show I noticed signs because I think when Edge was talking, there was an Edge. Somebody had an Edge sign in the background, and I noticed more signs for some reason from this point forward than I did beforehand. Which I kind of liked. It's one of those things of because at AEW, I know that there were a bunch of signs there because I saw a bunch of friends who had signs that they were taking to the show that they made. As a matter of fact, Lance's sister, her and her kids made signs, and they were sitting front row. So they were sitting front row right in front of the barbed wire tables where Lance put Moxley through the tables to win the match. And they had their signs right there. And of course, these kids are all like 8 to 4, right? And they're on the front row watching a Texas death match with their uncle getting blood and watching him throw a man through a barbed wire table. And and so there's been plenty of pictures with his sister where the kids are just like, yeah, no, I don't know if I like this. They're just like firing fear. It's hilarious. But they made signs, I think one of them said, Uncle Lance is going to kick your ass, and I was like, it's great. But, all kinds of people were taking signs. And I like that. I think that it brings more personality to the shows when you have fans engaged like that, wanting to bring signage. And I don't know what it was. And could it have been, once again, WWE making signs and giving to people? And they just now started to get those signs in the hard cams now. But it just
here you go, sir. Here's your Seth freaking Rollins sign.
Yeah. Here's your Edge sign. Because it was an Edge sign, I think, that was held up during that promo that I saw that I noticed, because it was like bright red Edge lettering on the sign, and so I think from that point forward, I don't know what it was. So
juicy comment just coming in here, by the way.
Oh,
from Inda Mahal.
From the modern day Maharaja, almost.
Just for saying, even the performances of rappers didn't get a huge pop either. Damn, there must be a cold ass crowd then.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
if you go to festivals, I don't know, I've never been to one, but the people that have been have told me this, and it seems logical. It's like there's usually 1 million people playing at the festival. So a lot of people only go there to see 1 or 2 people, but they got to stand there and wait for them. So
Yeah.
they're not gonna get into all these other acts that they never heard of or don't care about when they're waiting for their favorite. So a wrestling match is really no different in that respect. I
and
mean,
have you ever tried like being front row at a festival? That's a fucking taxing mission, by the way. That's your day. You can't leave there. There's no going away and coming back. You got to be in there for the long haul, physically and mentally.
Fuck that.
yeah, no thanks.
No thanks.
No thanks.
No thanks. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, so what was next after this one? This was
So what was next? A debut that was worth talking about. A match that absolutely was not.
Yeah.
Hey guys, remember when Toni Storm was a heel? Neither do we. Here she is against Zelina Vega. Not the most important match in the world. You don't all tell what happens. This is kind of the debut you expect. Come in, put in a shift against Zelina Vega. He had a little bit of offense, but for the most part, it was all Toni Storm, and it was just to kind of show off what she was about. What do we think about Toni Storm being back on SmackDown? I think, appearing on SmackDown, a good place for her.
I mean, let's be honest. The reason why Toni Storm is on SmackDown, as Society of Review says, is Tony Cakes. That's the biggest reason. She's blonde. She's marketable. She has a look. And she's a good wrestler. I'm not going to give her. I'm not going to say she's not a good wrestler, but that seems to be almost with WWE the third part of what they're looking for. Zelina Vega, she's got a good look. She's exotic, and she's a pretty decent wrestler. But it's more of, okay, well, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that sex sells kind of person on our roster. That's not that we necessarily need quality matches. Look who they have. Their purpose is the visual that they're trying to sell. And so, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying she's not talented. I've seen her in Stardom. I've seen her in some other places where she wrestled, and she's pretty good. But at the same time, too, it's, once again, how are they going to build her? How are they going to make her credible on this roster? It's because they're not going to bring up anything that she did in Stardom, all the championships held around the world, the places she's been where she's been champion. They're not going to do that. So then what will people who watch WWE only, those poor souls, how will they like connect with this person? And how will they get on board? Because some of these people aren't even watching NXT and know what's going on. I haven't watched really a lot of NXT. So how has she been doing down in NXT? Was she any good? I can't even give you that because I don't watch it that much. You know, how was she down there?
Well, let me start off by saying that I would put this in the any time is a good time for Tony. So it's Tony time all the time as far as I'm concerned. Gotcha. Not only is she a great women's wrestler, she's a great wrestler. She's great. Okay. She's too young to know the things that she knows how to do at this point. I don't know where some of these people, I don't know who's teaching them or what they're feeding them or whatever's happening with some of the young people in the business. When we always look at, like, we always go back and look at the old days with rose-colored glasses and say, oh, these kids don't know how to work anymore. No, there's quite a few that are very young and do know how to work, and Tony's one of them. I put her, she could, you know, as far as just the matches and stuff like that, she could wrestle men as far as I'm concerned. It's just is like knowledge-wise. I'm not saying I would ever do that, but you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't suffer from that sort of thing like you're talking about, where you're saying the visual package. Well, of course, that's the most important thing to them. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of these women are attractive. Mm-hmm. So you might as well have some good wrestlers who are attractive. That's right. What I don't get with the Eva Marie's and stuff like that. Like, what do you want to try to make money with this person where there's people that are already more attractive than her that do know the business and do know how to work? You know what I mean? So it's like, she's not really so hot that she blows everybody else in WWE out the water. Toni Storm kind of is one of those women that's like, man, she's really hot. And that's all you need to be. Fortunately, there is some substance there, as you said. In NXT, for some strange reason, and Tony's an eternal babyface, right? Like, you just want to like her. Look at her. Right. I mean, come on. Even if it's not just what do you want to call it? A thick blonde girl or whatever. Even if it's not just that, her body language and her emotions and the way she moves, her, you know, all that stuff that she does in the ring when she does work, like, yeah, maybe you're not a wrestling expert and you don't see like the little nuances that she does and what she's doing and her in her footwork and in her you know, ring awareness and spatial awareness and things like that and timing. And maybe you don't see all that, but there's something to her where the way she sells something, or think of how remember she hit her with that headbutt, right? Right. She hit Zelina with that headbutt, and what did she do? She acted like she was knocked out, and she timbered and fell over. Like, when was the last time you saw somebody sell their own headbutt like that? Right. Go ahead, name one person ever.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
You know what I mean? So where does she get this stuff? I don't know. But that's the kind of shit that we can expect from, you know, a great like Toni. But she's an eternal, it's, you know, that's a tangent. Eternal babyface. For some reason, they turned her heel. I don't agree with it. I think there's a lot of miscasting. I think we talked about this. They got people in the wrong roles just because they don't push people correctly, and then they don't get over to the degree that they want them to. Then they turn them heel with the psychology being, well, shit, if you're not going to cheer for them, you might as well have them boo. But that there's guys that are great at what they do, and even if they're great heels, like I think Toni can be a good heel, but then they just kind of took her off of NXT. She's kind of been like a completely unappreciated person. It's like they really don't know what they have with her, whether it's NXT, NXT UK, or the weird, like, remember when I already alluded to that Survivor Series where they put NXT over everybody, right? And she was on like the women's team. Yeah. For like whatever they were doing. She was the one woman that did not get any sort of like video package promotion, like no build up. They didn't introduce her. They barely said her name. The announcer barely said her name when she was coming out. It's just like, oh, and here's Toni Storm off in the corner. Don't pay too much attention to her. But hey, guys, Rhea Ripley, no offense to Rhea Ripley, I consider her in that same category of like, you're too young to be this good. Right. But just saying, like, it was weird how they treated her then. It's weird how she went to NXT UK and they kind of did something with her for a little bit with Rhea there. Then they both come stateside at different times. Then they bring so now Toni's in the States and she kind of does a little re-debut, but then she's just kind of not on TV, and then they turn her heel and then they don't really do anything. So she's kind of been in limbo for the past several years. And it's disappointing, not only as a fan to watch, but like if I'm looking at again like a business, like you're not getting a return on your investment. You've just been paying this chick to you know, and she's only 25. Thank you, society. 25 years old. She's 25, and I think she's like a 12-year veteran or something like that. Because they start them young down in that that South Pacific Oceania area. She's from Australia. She's been to Japan. They start them young down there. Same thing with England. They start them at like 11, 12. And they may not make their debut then, but that's when they start their training, right? So I mean, so already to have double-digit years of experience and only be 25, like that explains some of the good shit she does. But I'm excited for her to be seen by more people. I'm afraid that they will do to her what they've been doing to her, which is just sort of like forget she exists for a while. But I'm just going to stay cautiously optimistic. And at the very least, if she gets to be on there and have nice matches with people and not get hurt, then it's a win for everybody. And I think she's that type of person that just the fans, even when they don't know exactly what they're seeing, they know there's something there. Right. So when they see her, they'll get that same feeling of authenticity that they get with guys like Finn Balor, that they get with guys like Daniel Bryan. Like, Daniel Bryan doesn't appear to be exciting on the surface, but when you see him, you just believe him, and that's what the fans are really looking for, is someone to believe in. Tony can be that.
Yeah. So, I mean, after this one, we got another match. We got back-to-back matches, guys. Can you believe it? It was kind of like, whoa. So we got Jimmy, again, 2 tag teams that aren't tagging. So on the show, we've had a tag team match where the tag teams didn't tag. It was just 1-on-1. And now we've had it again with the guys who were former champs who should be getting a rematch, but instead we're just doing Jimmy versus Dominic.
No rematches anymore. That stuff's gone. You're not supposed to have rematches anymore unless you earn one.
They said that once.
Yeah, right. Whatever. So then we get Jimmy versus Dominic. Which
I dropped out at this point. I was just
we knew who was going to win. I mean, it's Dominic. It might have been a little bit more believable with Ray, but Dominic is going to take the loss. And I mean, we saw that. And of course,
we're in the process of trying to get them out the way now. Like, move on to the next one. Move on to the next team.
Yeah.
So it does make a bit of sense, but not the cheating to win part.
Yeah, and I mean, it just, and that didn't make sense to me. The ending where was it Jay puts his feet in, how the ref doesn't see half of a body being inside the ring to help hold somebody down. Yeah, exactly. How did that Carmella get that?
Oh, that was a petty rematch. Bianca just went, I'll just give you another one.
Yeah.
Literally just went, I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
Because she felt bad for
No, you don't get the automatic rematch when you lose the title. Carmella doesn't have the title, therefore she can ask for as many rematches as she wants. Come on, guys. Try to keep up, will you?
Let's go. Come on. Logic. But, like, once again, why are we not utilizing our tag teams? We have the Dirty Dogs involved in this Intercontinental smash up, which I don't even know why, because Dolph starts to say something and he gets interrupted. We have no real reason why this tag team. And then we have 2 tag teams who are using singles matches with their partners out there. And then, and in this one, Dominic is basically trying to hold off Jay so that to keep from cheating at half the time. And that's what it ends up being. We're watching Ray jump around and do stuff to keep Jay from helping Jimmy out, and it's just, I don't know. This match was just kind of all over the place for me. And then, and of course, Jimmy's gonna beat Dominic, and this is gonna be the new thing now, where the Usos are gonna be cheating to win, I guess, because it's how they did it at Money in the Bank, and then they're doing it again. So, I would be honest. I wanted to see the Usos win, but not like this. I wanted to see them be the Uso penitentiary badass guys that they were, and yet I'm seeing this chicken shit heel stuff of cheating all the time. And that's not who they are. It just, and then of course, this is all to set up the end, which is, once again, we have this, like, when Jay won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal right before SmackDown, and so that Roman could get his 10-minute, 15-minute promo in, before the show goes off the air. Nice. Yeah, there you go, Sonic. Yeah, exactly.
You're sharper around the nonsense of WWE.
Yeah, exactly. And all of this just so that those two knuckleheads who have the belt can come and they can chant and cheer so that Roman comes out to do his last 10-minute promo. I mean, I don't know. It's at this point where I'm like going, thank God there's only 10 minutes left because I am just frustrated beyond belief with this show.
They're stretching this out a little bit by this point.
Yeah.
Girlfriend threatening to leave you.
Yeah, I know. She's like, let's go.
I'm walking out and I'm taking my cool son with me.
Yeah, well.
Damn it, watch this shit.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So and then we end on this Roman promo thing, which
it wasn't a bad promo by all sense of imagination.
I guess I'm taking some bitterness into it because of how they got there. With the whole let's use the Usos to build up to this whole Roman thing. It just that's the thing that I'm I guess more frustrated about it. It felt forced, because we do know that he's going to answer because Paul Heyman said he will answer tonight. And Paul Heyman has done a lot of things, but he's never lied, So when Paul, let's be honest, it sounds weird. Except for if you worked for ECW, then that's a different story. But, if whenever he's been on TV, he's never lied to us. He's done all kinds of grandiose things, but he's never lied to us. So we know Roman's going to say something about the John Cena thing. So, so I had to kind of get over my bitterness to watch this one, and I've watched it again now that like my bitterness has been removed, and it's like, okay, this was pretty good, I liked it,
Line of the night went to Reigns. To be fair, 100%.
Yeah, it really did.
Describing John Cena promos as missionary position every single night. As we've referred to throughout this show, proper brilliant line. I don't know how they got away with that. I don't think that's normally a line you would say on PGTV, but
right.
I suppose it's one for the parents, that one. But
Mommy, what's missionary position?
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to bed. Let's never talk about that again.
Yes. So, I've said my piece. How do you guys? How do you feel this last promo to end the show with?
Well, it's good. I like what he answered. Now it's kind of silly. Like if you really think about it, John Cena makes the trouble to appear to all these shows and talk about how much he wants to, get after Roman Reigns for, being an asshole. He's edgy. He's an asshole. But he does his thing at the top and then he just leaves. Like he could have came back now, like after Roman Reigns came back out. Or you could have looked for him backstage at his stupid little office thing. Or they could have had John Cena throughout the entire show, but no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do any of that. So logically, again, there's that word again, that logic. That kind of, that's where when you're creative, you think about that stuff. You're like, well, shit, if John Cena showed up here, he'd probably stay for the show. He'll probably be here when Roman Reigns does go out there. So there's your time to do something. Instead we get Finn Balor, which is pretty cool because that's going to be a fine little match, but it's just too random. It doesn't, why are you teasing us with John Cena if you're just going to go to Finn Balor? Well, we know why, because you're just going to have a match of Finn Balor on one of the Smackdowns before SummerSlam. And that's going to be a thing just to try to maybe get a rating or something, whatever you think. But the thing itself was good.
Yeah. Because I think you're right. They're looking at this and saying, like, John Cena and Roman Reigns is guaranteed no matter what. And it's almost like they think, oh, well, everyone knows that anyway. So you know what? We'll drag it out. So why not focus on next week's SmackDown and have a pull for that? And have Finn Balor, which I think is a strange match to have him come back to. I think having Finn Balor come back and then go straight into this match with Roman Reigns for the title, or just he didn't. This is the thing. He didn't really necessarily say it's for the title. He just challenged him.
Gotta be for the title.
You would think so.
This version of Finn Balor, it would only make sense that he would do it.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like that because if you haven't watched him on NXT since he's been back, then you may just think, hey, this is the same Finn Balor who left.
No.
But it's not now. So this Finn Balor is done with the bullshit and he's coming for people's asses. That's basically, I know how that sounds, but you know
but
I mean.
which is what we saw with the Sami Zayn match, so and you can't help but wonder if that pop last week and the pop they had tonight made them kind of go, well, shit, we need to get Balor in with Roman Reigns. He's going to be here. Let's get him involved. You can't help but wonder if maybe last week was a sign of like, oh shit, let's get him involved with Roman Reigns because, he's over. So because he had a huge pop last week when he showed up. So I don't see that being an issue where they go, that most likely Vince hears the pop and goes, well, let's get him involved with Roman. Let's do something with that, and so we can build a pop that way.
Or more likely, Roman I don't even know if Roman needs to hear the pop. It's probably more of a case of Roman saying, okay, who do I feel like working with that you guys got? Because he's calling his shots at this point to a certain degree. If somebody wants something bad enough, I'm sure that they'll get the final say. If Vince wants the final say, he'll get the final say. But he has no reason to deny Roman saying, hey, I want to have a match with Finn Balor. I think that's really what we're looking at. And if you look at the guys that Roman has worked with, ever since coming back and, with his new persona, then it makes sense that this would be more like, here's my wish list. Please make as many of these happen. Finn Balor's you guys want to call up Finn Balor? Okay, I want to work with Finn Balor. That's a good match for me. That's a good match for him. It's going to work out. I would like to do that. If you want to pencil, we have you penciled in for John Cena at SummerSlam. Okay, that's fine. I'll work with John Cena, no problem. But before that, I got to do something. So how about Finn Balor? Okay, we'll do that before. Or maybe they'll do something to where Finn Balor can't fight Roman Reigns right away, even though he accepts the challenge, and then he'll be the person after Cena at SummerSlam. Who knows? Or they can do before and after, because he's Cena's not sticking around. So there's all kinds of things, but I do think Roman has a lot more input on this shit. I think he's at that point now where he gets to have that creative control to a degree. And who wouldn't want to have a match with Finn Balor if you're in his position? What else? Baron Corbin again?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's done with that fucking guy. So.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to do that. So it's just interesting how, really, because, you go from Balor appearing last week, not even really having a match, just jumping Sami Zayn and kicking his ass. This week he has a match. And then by the end of the show, he's got a match with Roman Reigns, which you assume is for the title, because that's what John Cena wanted. And he's like, well, what about Finn Balor? And he's like, yeah, well, let's do this, kind of thing. And he accepts the challenge. So it has, that's the reason why I think it's for the title. But you've got, all of a sudden, it felt like, in a way, from my point of view, oh my God, he's over. We've got to get him with Roman because that'll be money. Which, because like you say, at the end of the day, it's a business. I don't mind seeing this version, like you say, Finn Balor going after Roman. To me, it's believable. You watched with the ferocity he threw his punches at Sami Zayn, and you watched how, he was able to work with Sami, and that coup de grace at the end was just crisp and on point and looked like it hurt. I don't care who you are. It made a sound, and it looked like it hurt like a motherfucker. And, that's the coup de grace I want to see. From Finn Balor, not some of the stuff that he's been doing.
And Roman doesn't have a chest protector now.
Yeah.
So he's going to take the whole thing.
Exactly.
No bitching out of this one.
Yeah, Roman, unless he comes back with a chest protector.
Yeah. Specifically for that'd be such good heat. That'd be so good.
Always thinking.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. So we know how we all rated this show. I said shit sandwich, and you guys said roller coaster. Sit sandwich with maybe some bacon in the middle. So
we got it's a SmackDown we got through. It's probably the nice way of putting it. We pulled it out the hat.
But at the same time too, do we feel the fans have helped the programming? I think that's the ultimate question.
I just don't think it's made a difference. They're still in this sort of creative, experimental, strange, weird things where they're bringing people up and then not quite having things for them, or having the odd matches like we talked about, Karrion Kross coming up and getting pinned. I've said that a bunch of times today. You've got Shotzi and Knox that came up, but then it didn't come up when the fans were here. It was really odd doing it that way. People have just vanished who were doing quite well. I think the biggest loser at this was Bailey, just because of her injury coming at the worst possible time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if she wasn't injured, this would have been the perfect time for her. I think she would have thrived. I just don't know. To me, it just seems ironically having this show where we spent a lot of time talking about the fans coming back and what changes, what's the dynamic like. WWE themselves haven't changed much. They've just stuck with the same plan, and I feel like that there's a lesson to be learned for that. That they can't just go into autopilot on this anymore. They have to now start reacting with what's in front of them. It's easy to not look at Twitter. It's easy to not look at Facebook and Instagram comments, but when they're right in front of you, making it known on your product, you can't hide from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, they can and they will and they'll continue to.
Probably, yeah.
They always have. Look, hey, I was in the building when the McMahons came out and said on Raw and said that they were listening and things are going to change and all that. I was in the building, nothing changed. I was in the building when Hell in the Cell with Seth Rollins and The Fiend, where they booed Seth Rollins out of the building. They booed that shitty match out of the building. I was there. An AEW chant broke out when people were filing out of the building randomly. And the funniest thing ever was people were so mad. This is so funny. You know what I'm talking about, right? You remember that Hell in the Cell where with the toolbox and all that bullshit?
Yeah.
They stopped the match. Yeah. I was there. And they didn't care about that either. So they'll continue to not care. But anyways, the funny story. So you know how Becky has the steam pyro, I guess you'd call it.
Right.
Like she got the steam things that goes off, right? Okay, so that happens obviously in the first match of that show. So as everybody's pissed off about the main event and everybody's leaving and they're chanting AEW and all this other stuff. So as everybody, all the crew is cleaning up around the ring and stuff, and I guess there's still some steam left in one of the things. And so they blow they blow the rest of the steam out of one of the, the jets or whatever. And everybody turns to look at it because it makes that psh noise, right? So everybody just looks over at this one steam thing going off, and then they just start booing it like it was Seth Rollins again. It was they were so mad they booed Becky Lynch's leftover steam.
That's hilarious.
And that wasn't enough for the WWE to even think about, maybe we should, I don't know, try not sucking. Right. They don't care. They don't care. But the good news is what we get out of it is we got a little hot shotting. So, we can enjoy the hot shotting while they're giving it to us,
Right. But like you said, that doesn't help in the long run, No. It is what it is. And I mean, at what point does AEW become a thing that they have to start looking in their rearview mirror about? I mean, the last 2 weeks they've had over 1 million viewers on their shows.
As long as they're not on the same nights as them, they won't have to look at them because they'll always have that excuse of if they did that unopposed, if we did it, So we'll see. It's not a true war. Now, if they want to move nights, that'll be a different story. AEW's got the same problem with hot shotting. They've been hot shotting since they opened their doors.
Oh yeah,
and that's just one of the things that. A giddy Mark that has a lot of money that finally gets to play in the sandbox with all his new toys and stuff like that. That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But he's just got to pace himself and realize that he can stretch some of these things out and try to make some more sense out of some of the stuff. He can get it in time. But I don't know until they make a concerted effort to go at the WWE's throat, like Ted Turner, WCW, and Eric Bischoff did back then. I don't think the WWE will have a reason to care. They'll just remain oblivious.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a strong place to finish from this one. Really good review on that one for that there. Any other business you want to take care of, gentlemen? Anything else you want to bring up or talk about before we close on out here? Same on the comments. If you are in the live chat, any questions or anything, get them in. Get your likes in. If you are watching this, let us know if you've enjoyed it. If you enjoyed listening to us here, get your likes in for that. It helps us out quite a lot. That's what they normally say. Get those thumbs up on. Let's hear it. What's the time? Time to get ill. It's currently 8:10 in the evening.
Yeah, and so I guess we're not getting an RBV run in. We were going to look and listen for that shill. That he was going to shill for us, but apparently
he does
he's not
send his
in.
apologies. He does send his apologies. He was wanting to try and get back on, so we might get him on the show.
But he had to work, so we have to give him that.
Yeah.
And so
call in sick.
Yeah, I know.
It's important.
Yeah, no shit, right? So. All right, so Vet, we appreciate you coming on today. It was great having you with both of us. We had a full crew, yay! So, if anybody wants to follow you on the internet, where can they find you at?
Well, they can find me at Opinion Haver on all the social media platforms, except for Facebook now, but every other media platform.
So I can go to TikTok and find Opinion Haver?
You can. I'd be interested to see what it says, because like I said, I don't actually have the app installed, but my name is up there. So I took the name and deleted the app. That is a thing. So no posts or nothing, but I am there, and you can find me there. And everywhere else, it could be Twitch, it could be my YouTube channel, it could be anything. Just look for Opinion Haver. And of course, every week, you're going to see me on the Impact Attack, which is, recently it's been on live Sunday nights, but it drops whenever, Colin decides to upload the thing. I don't know what day that is exactly. It changes. Oh, there it is. You can tell it's me because it's got my logo on there.
Yes, it does.
But I will not be doing a funny dance or any other sorts of things that you would normally expect to see at TikTok. I'll do all my silly dances on the Impact Attack and on the Next Level Wrestling Review every Wednesday morning with Big Ray. So we are a little more prompt on that channel. We'll be going live at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. So you can always jump in and chat with us live there. And the shows have been going off the rails. Big Ray and I go off on all kinds of side tangents and then maybe try to squeeze NXT into the last 20, 15 minutes or whatever it is. And as for that, and then every once in a while, you never know when, but you can catch me on the Smack Attack right here. So
that's right.
I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys so much for having me, and this was pretty fun.
I can appreciate anybody who has the cheat as their profile picture.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's not the cheat exactly. That's one of the cheat commandos, which is Gunhaver. Which is where my name is a takeoff from. So if anybody wanted to know where I got that from, it's from the Homestar Runner cheat toy line spinoff of the Cheat Commandos. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Who didn't love Strong Bad? Oh my god.
It's a bunch of stupid people or stupid.
Email.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess I need to do mine then. So if you need to find me on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, it's JReezyMen. On Facebook, it's John Enright. And if you want to talk mental health, which, by the way, I do have something from our friend Jackson Stone. I talked to him about maybe coming on and talking about live stuff, but he had a wedding this weekend that he's attending. So, cheers on him for that. That he's in a wedding with a friend. So, but he did, of course, we have a mental health tip from him. Let's see, where did I put that? There it is. So it's on men's mental health. A message to my guys out there: asking for help is strength. Having emotions and displaying those emotions in a healthy way makes you tough. Did I read this one already?
Don't think so.
No, I don't think. Okay. I know what you've been told or taught, but it's okay to cry. Need someone to hold on to you or take a break. Of course, sometimes we need to be strong for our loved ones and take care of the things for people around us. But it's just as important to prioritize our own well-being, especially your own emotional well-being. Just know that you are not alone. I love you. Cheers, all my dudes. Let's encourage men to speak up, not man up. Hope you have a fantastic week. Take care of yourself. Much love, Jackson Stone. So Jackson coming in with the challenging us guys to emote and to share so that we have good mental health. And if you need to talk mental health or how to start your journey on having good mental health, you can always email me, john@freedomhousepc.org. I would love to talk to you about that. I'm not going to talk wrestling. I'm not going to talk our Star Trek. I'm not going to talk the Academy. I'm not going to talk any of those things. We're just going to be talking your mental health, what we can do to help, maybe listen, and then maybe find some resources in your area to begin your journey on what you're comfortable with doing. Whether that be maybe we get you with a place where you can just do counseling online through Zoom, or if you're more an in-person patient, we can find a place that has low cost to no cost counseling. There are those services in areas that you can do that and get good mental health that way. So we're going to I'm here to help you with that. So that's how you get a hold of me. And as you, in case you haven't heard, a new episode of the Academy podcast dropped this week, produced by our man James Money MacGyver.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Did it drop? Did I already drop it?
No, it's hopefully going to drop soon.
Okay.
There's some bits and pieces I'm waiting on just to get done, and then we're ready to rock and roll.
So it's gonna, I mean, it's been such a busy week for me. I don't even remember if my own podcast dropped or not. So that's just been my thing. So so you can also hear me and Triple D on the Academy having a good time talking that stuff. If you have opinions about Star Trek, send it to us on all the Star Trek places you can go. When it drops, you can see where you can get a hold of us, email us, text us. I mean, you can do anything to get a hold of us and talk Academy and talk Star Trek. And as to quote my friend Triple D, fuck the Romulans. That's all I gotta say. Fuck the Romulans. That is his cry every show. So shout out to Triple D for that. So that's me. That's how you get a hold of me, and that's where you can listen to all my stuff. And so let's kick it over to the grimy Scottishman to wrap us up and send us out.
Grimy Scottish man for that. Of course, you can follow me at Jamie McIver. It's not the most interesting Twitter, but you can jump on that if you wanted to say hello and chat to me there. But of course, the Smack Attack, that's what we're all here for. You can follow Smack Attack on Twitter at SmackAttackHMG. We've not done it for a little while, but we do like opening the mail sack and answering all your questions about all sorts. We've talked about food, we've talked politics, we've talked Star Trek, we've talked the A-Team, we've booked all kinds of things. We'll answer any question you've got. Get in the mail sack. You can do that on Twitter. Or you can email us, smackattackhmg@gmail.com. That's where we are. That's our email for that there. You can also find us on the Hammy Media group, the Hammy Media discussion group on Facebook there. Get in touch with it. If you're not on it now, how did you find us? How did you find this show? Get on that group. It's got all sorts. We've got so many talking points. People post anything that's on their mind about pro wrestling, conspiracy, sports, the news, anything. Willie Malacia has some of the best news content going around. If you're looking for any of the scoops on professional wrestling right now, I'm tripping over my words like something else. Best news in pro wrestling just now. Willie Malacia will find stories months in advance. We've evidence of it. He has proven it. Get on there if you want to get the latest there. We do pick'ems for every pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view. We've got a pick'ems league if you want to get involved in that. There's some great chat going on. There's titles that get thrown about. There's also a really good league table in that as well for that there. So get involved in that. There's the Hammy Media Discord channel as well if you've got any of that. We've got a Smack Attack leaf just for us if you want to go and leave some comments here as well. I don't think I'm missing anything else. I think we've
what about fighter fans?
Is it true that if they follow you, you will get free haggis? I was promised by Canada Spaceman that, not that I want it, but it's always nice to know that it's available.
Well, it's illegal over your way, is it not?
What?
Yeah, is that?
Haggis is illegal. So
I guess black pudding and all that stuff is illegal. Bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Fucking. You can't. Haggis is literally just like, it's not even like a real sheep's lining anymore. It's literally the skin that you put around a sausage, filled with like lamb, well, meat and herbs and spices and things like that. It's not even that bad. And you guys are like, it's illegal. The stuff you have in America right now, the food that you will eat, and you won't eat haggis.
No. Hey, don't talk about our food. We can put as much shit as we want in our own food, and we kill our citizens. But no, we can't have foreigners doing it.
There it is. Hey, we're just throwing that one at the foreigner's line.
Yeah.
No, your bottle of Iron Brew has been rescinded.
What? Wait, I'm just repeating the rhetoric that people tell. You know I don't give a shit about government.
But if there's a way I can get it to you, we'll sort it out. I'll figure out if there's a legal way to get haggis. You're not going to want haggis, but there's a legal way to get haggis over. But we can get that all sorted out for that. There.
All you got to do is follow at Jamie McIver.
Yeah, add Jamie McIver and get some free.
If you give me enough, I'll do that. Yeah. As you mentioned, there might be an episode.
That seems fair. That's a fair exchange. A follow for a sheep stomach. Yeah.
I could absolutely afford that. But yeah, you can follow me on there. Thank you guys. Thanks to yourself, the vet of the Hammy Media Group. It's a pleasure to have you on. Absolutely love it when you come on. Open invite as always. I always say this, but there's no invite. If you ever want to jump on, just let us know if that there. No doubt we'll shout you and ask you if you want.
Maybe I'll just make this my third show. What do you think?
Hey!
I'm good. Get right on that there. Let's get on that there. That'd be quality. But yeah, we'll have you on. John, it's always a pleasure talking to you there. We always have a good time when we do this. The chat, as always, the madness of the chat that we have on this show. It's been brilliant to watch and follow. We've had chats about tea, the concerts going on. What else we got here? Someone mentioned, Cam was talking about his Olympics experience as well. So it all popped off there. So I love to see it. It's like you guys, you make the show part of what it is as well. Keeps it nice and live. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheerio.